Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join me. My name is Andrea Anderson, Chief Ideas Specialist of Your Marketing Machines. And I have the absolute good fortune of being here on behalf of the Moreton of MBRIT, who have made it possible for me to be able to present this workshop to you. And today we are talking about mastering your marketing for 2020-2021. And we're looking to establish your marketing plan for success. However, the first thing I would like to do is just to acknowledge our traditional custodians of this land, pay our respects to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, traditions, culture and hope of Indigenous Australians, and I thank you for allowing me to do so. Just a very quick intro of me. Yep, that's me, pointing a finger. And for those of you who I've actually had the privilege of meeting face to face, you're used to me doing this to you. I guess, a 20 plus year veteran of business entrepreneurship. You name it, I've probably owned it, started it, created it, lost money from it. Now I try not to lose as much money. And fortunately, as I always say to people, I've not yet been been put into receivership, liquidated or insolvent. But hey, there's always a first time in this market, right? But look, I do have a number of business entities that I'm very excited to be a part of. Your Marketing Machines is a marketing strategy and communications agency. We're based here in Brisbane, Queensland. And I also have a business coaching company called Biz Mojo, which assists you in getting back on track. But outside of that, the real key here is to understand, I guess, how do we go about creating a marketing plan in an environment that is constantly changing? And for those of you who have been in and around business for quite a while now, it's a bit like, which door do I choose? It's like, am I going down door A, door B, door C, or is it door Q? And the key here is really understanding why it is that you've taken time out of your day today and understand why it is that you're actually here with me today. This will also then help us to, I guess, endeavor or to determine which other doors that we should actually be heading down. So if you're here, you're probably trying to figure out this thing called marketing, because it's always a moving, I guess, a moving animal. If you're here because it's time for you to actually create some form of a marketing plan, well done. I commend you for taking that step. Perhaps you're just sick and tired of being baffled by marketing BS and you're really wanting to understand the basics of, or the fundamentals of marketing that apply to your business. Maybe you're trying to work out what is going to be right for you going forward, or I'm hoping that there's people here like me who are all of the above. So whichever it is for you, please do resonate on that. Any questions that you may have through the course of this workshop with you, please do put them into the chat box so I can then come around and answer those questions for you. Now, you would have received, hopefully, is the downloadable copy of the marketing blueprint. And essentially, this is what we are going to be using to create the beginnings of your marketing plan. Why am I saying that you can do it on one page? Quite simply, we're going to go through the 4 key components of a marketing blueprint. And that is lead generation, nurture journey, prospect experience, and sales conversion. And what I'm hoping that you will do during the course of this time together is, as we're going through each of these stages, I want you, if you've downloaded it, you'll find that there is plenty of respective space on each of these pages. I'm going to encourage you to actually make notes on this workbook. So important for you to understand how you can actually get back in control of your marketing as of today. What's really important for you also to understand is that with this marketing blueprint, you can now go and speak with confidence to marketers, and you can start asking marketers the very tough questions and determine for yourself whether what they're telling you is actually correct for you or not. Okay, so let's get started so that I can hand this over to you in a very short period of time. First part of your marketing plan, and that is actually the top part of your marketing plan, is the lead generation. The four key components up the top of the marketing blueprint. Why do we lead generate? Really, for these three main reasons. Number one, we want to generate interest. In other words, create curiosity, either in your services, your products, or your solutions, right? Number two, we want to let the world know that we are open for business. Our doors are open and we're ready here to serve you. And the third reason why you lead generate is to find potential customers. And normally for some of you here, you may be very early in your businesses. If you're approximately less than 2 years old, you're what we call is in the market penetration strategy. That's the kind of marketing strategy you're using, where fundamentally you're looking to compete head to head with existing competitors for their customers. In other words, you're looking to create market share. If you're looking for the marketing blueprint, in the email that I sent out, there would have been a download here button, I think at the bottom of it, which would allow you to download the blueprint. If your business has been operating for a while, let's say, for example, you've already got a database, you've already got a network, and you're now looking at wanting to develop your services or sell your products or services into a new market, that is what we call a market development strategy. Market development strategy is fundamentally where you are leveraging off the market that you already have share in, and you're now wanting to sell your products into a new market who may or may not have heard about you. Okay, so lead generation is really important for letting people know that your brand is open for business. Now, when we look at lead generation, there are four main types of lead generation. Now, some of you here are probably using social media strategies. So these are digital platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. You could have a YouTube channel. You could have a podcast channel as well. If you are using any of these social media strategies or contemplating using these social media strategies, then I want you to write them down on the marketing blueprint. You know, it's so important that you have clarity as to where, using social media, are you going to show up. The second kind of lead generation strategy that you may consider is an offline media strategy. So this is where you may use things like printed material. Yeah, old school, I know. So if you've got a business card or a brochure or a flyer or a company profile that you've got printed and you can also use as a downloadable PDF, great. I want you to make a note of where you're using offline material. You may have, for example, banners, pop-up banners that you use as well. Anything that's not digital, that is in an offline situation. You could be on radio. Oh, no. Yeah, guess what? We still listen to radios. You could be on television. If you are, note that down if those are the kind of vehicles that you're going to use for a lead generation purpose. The next two strategies that we're going to talk about is the public media strategies. This is your face-to-face opportunities, such as networking events, breakfast meetings, speaking opportunities. If you are part of a networking group, great, note that down. If you're part of a BNI, if you're part of a Chamber of Commerce, if you belong to a business group that meets on a regular basis, note that down. Public media strategies are absolutely imperative insofar as being a brand builder and brand awareness strategy. So important. If you're not doing public media strategies, the question I need to ask you is why not? Even in these times when we're limited on the number of people that we can physically meet with, there is still the opportunity to do Zoom meets. And yes, you're probably going to tell me, but Andrea, I'm all zoomed out. I know, but unless you're prepared to show up, people aren't going to know who you are. All right. The fourth kind of strategy for lead generation is referral media. Now, for many of us in business, my apologies, for many of us in business, you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I build my business from word of mouth. Fantastic. Word of mouth is referral media strategies. This is where you've got recommendations from current customers, previous customers, and strategic partners. And it's real important that when you're looking at brand building, referral media strategies are a real vital part of every business. I work on referral media strategies. It's one of my biggest lead generating strategies that I really work hard to maintain. And in the rest of the presentation, I'm going to hit a little bit more on referral media strategies. Now, as part of lead generation is a website. Now, I have to admit, I'm amazed at how many people still don't actually have a website in the 21st century. It's mind-boggling. The greatest way for you to lose credibility and respectability is to not have some form of a website presence. Even if it's a simple landing page, is far more important to you and far more relevant to your business than not having some form of website presence. Okay, so if you don't have a website, I want you please to note that down. I don't have a website, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Absolutely vital if you want to build credibility in today's business environment. Now, when we're looking at lead generation strategies, and this is what I find really interesting, this is really what it looks like for most businesses that I speak to. They invest the bulk of their time in social media, very little in offline media. They might go to the odd networking event if you're lucky. And, you know, they might say to me that really a lot of their business comes from word of mouth, but when I sit down and actually analyze down their businesses, there's very little. And I'm actually appalled at how many people really don't have a website. So most people say to me, oh, Andrea, you know, social media is where I've got to be. Social media is one of the areas that you need to be in. If your business is only being promoted, or if your brand has only got awareness in one of these areas, guess what? You're giving yourself a 20% chance of being found. 20%. Now, as we know, inside social media, there's approximately 16 million people on Facebook, there's approximately 13 million on Instagram, and there's approximately about 10 million on LinkedIn, and these are Australian figures. So your opportunity in being found starts to dwindle even further than 20%. So I want you to be really resonating on, am I across these platforms? Social media, offline media, public media, referral media, and do I have a website? Because ideally, this is where I'm going to encourage you to be moving to. Okay, yes, social media is important, but it shouldn't be the only platform for you to show your brand up. I'm going to be encouraging you over time to be transitioning to the blue. So important for you to be doing that. So the question I'm going to be asking you to resonate on over time, and that is, what lead generation strategies am I currently using? I'm hoping you've actually written that down on a piece of paper. Even if you don't have the marketing blueprint, that's okay. You will receive a copy of it, I can guarantee you. So even on a piece of paper, what are the current lead generation strategies I'm currently using right now? Number two, how effective are these strategies in regards to building my brand awareness and being a lead generator? Number three, if I've only got one or two areas, what other areas should I be considering for lead generation in my business? And number four, what must I change in my current plan? Oh, scary, I know. Okay, so number two, moving into step number two, nurture journey. This part I find quite amusing because this is a part that most people normally miss out on. And this is where I want to talk about streamlining your communication through the power of technology. So why do we nurture journey? Well, for these three particular reasons. Number one, it's the automation of communication through your marketing. You're not always going to be available at the time that your prospect or your lead wants to talk with you. You know, we're not all awake 24/7. So we need to find ways to be able to automate communication until we're in a position where we can actually, answer our prospects' questions. The second reason why we nurture journey, and that is for data management purposes. This is about housing this, it's about having a housing system to manage all that contact information that you're gathering from lead right through to customer. Now, that doesn't mean an Excel spreadsheet, folks. Okay, and yes, Jody, I see you laughing at me because you know. Okay, so this is about having a proper system that allows us to be able to manage all of this contact data coming in the door. The third reason for nurture journey is convenience. This is where we want to be able to access our contact data anytime, any place, so that we can actually communicate efficiently to develop relationship with our leads. So there are some software options I need for you to resonate on under Nurture Journey. And that is your CRM system. And that's, I said, that's your housing system for all your data collection. Your email marketing, and this is your ability to communicate effectively to your audience. A booking system and options for individuals to book directly as for an appointment with you. And also your design support. This is making your communications look pretty. So if I break that down into a little bit of detail here, what is a CRM system, Andrea? Because it's a question I get asked all the time. Essentially, I'm talking about a customer relationship management system. It provides a cloud-based system to hold, maintain, and organize your contact information. And no, I'm not talking just your emails. I'm talking, you know, when somebody comes through from your website and they want to receive your newsletters, where does that stuff go? Where does that contact information go? Okay. This allows for the ability to connect this kind of software with other software, such as a website, your emails, chatbot messenger marketing. If you decide you want to run special events like Eventbrite, for example, registration can all funnel through to your CRM system where it's housed. This also provides an opportunity to segment and communicate to relevant groups, such as your prospects, your newsletter leads, and your customers. Who here, raise your hand, who here has deleted or unsubscribed from newsletters because although you've been a customer of that business, they still treat you like you're a prospect? I have. And the reason being is like, I'm buying from you and you're still talking at me like you still want me to, you know, you're still trying to sell at me. People, we don't like that. So having somewhere where you can segment your contact information and have an opportunity where you can talk specifically to a group of people, I can guarantee you the better the quality of your communication, the more likely they are to continue to buy from you. Now, CRM systems can range from being free to anything up to $150 a month, for example. Okay, so here are just some examples of CRM systems. Keep is part of Infusionsoft, which I call the granddaddy of CRM systems. They've been around the longest, and I think Keep at the moment is around about $69 Australian a month. Well, that was the special. MailChimp is a free CRM system up to 2,000 contacts and allows for a certain amount of emails to be delivered at no charge. Remember though that when things are free, there is limitations to what it can do for you. But MailChimp's pricing is also quite reasonable and you can increase your fee with them depending upon your needs. Pipedrive and HubSpot are another couple of options. I've used HubSpot in the past, primarily the free version. And a lot of these all have very similar functionality when it comes to managing data, your contact information. And many of these also have email communications also included in them, such as newsletter options and the like. So booking systems, some of you here probably work very similarly to myself, where it's all on appointment. Um, I use Calendly is one of my main ones, which I'll talk about in a moment. But if you are based on appointment setting and you're tired of doing the whole backwards and forwards, hey, what about this time? No, what about this time? The really cool thing about a booking system is that it's an automated appointment scheduling tool. It connects with your main emails and your main calendar. So Microsoft or G Suite are the two main ones. You can, your invitee can book directly to your calendar. And what's really great is that you can set the time frame to be anything from 15 minutes to 90 minutes. And you can obtain additional information as well. Now, what I mean by they can book directly into your calendar is that when they pop into a particular day that they're wanting to meet with you, what it will give them is your availability, which means that, like, for example, I use Microsoft as my main Microsoft Outlook as my main calendar. What it will do, for example, on a day like a Thursday, it will only show whatever appointments I've got available on that particular day. Examples, as I mentioned, I use Calendly. I think it costs me $20 a month. Australian, I use it pretty much 90% of the time. And what it allows me to do, as I said, is I can send a link and people can go in. It's a 15-minute, 60-minute, 30-minute, and essentially they can book straight away. The cool thing about it is that there's an automated follow-up process that's connected as well. So what will happen is, let's say, for example, Heather wants to book an appointment with me. She goes in, she books. What it will do is ask for some additional information, like her email address, maybe her business name, her contact telephone number. It may also ask her how she would like to meet, whether by telephone or a Zoom call. And then I might actually ask a couple of other questions as well, like tell me about your business, or give me the 3 reasons why the 3 top challenges or issues that you're wanting to communicate. What's really cool is all I've done is I've sent her a link and she's done the rest. What's really neat is that it pops up automatically in my calendar that Heather's booked on this time, and then it will send her a reminder follow up 24 hours before the actual meet. And that's what I love about automating as much as I possibly can, so I can focus in on the things that the communication that's important. Now, looking at your presentations, and this could be things like your newsletters or PowerPoint presentations, proposals. You may want your presentations to look perfect. And by the way, if you do write proposals, I'm going to encourage you, make them look pretty. It's really important. And where possible, I'm going to encourage you, audio your proposals if possible. You'd be amazed at how effective an audio proposal can actually look. And if you're curious how to do that, pop a question into the chat box and I can answer that for you. You're looking at taking the boring to spectacular. It's great for presentations, as I said, templates, social media posts, articles and blogs. And it provides variety and allows for creativity. Here are some examples of software that you can consider. Canva is probably the most popular, and Canva was really designed for design dummies like me. I don't come from a design background. I sort of kind of know what I like, and I was never a good fan of InDesign or Adobe. If you come from a graphic design background, I'm incredibly envious of you. But Canva is probably the most common. I think they do have a free version, but you can also upgrade to a professional version, which I think is like $15 a month. And it opens up a whole assortment of goodies for you. And obviously the third option there is Microsoft, good old Microsoft Office PowerPoint, which this presentation is made on. So if you are looking at wanting to beautify your work and your communications, I do recommend look at these different kinds of software applications. And yes, this is a vital part of your marketing plan. So a couple of questions here. What is your current process for communication? And I'm going to guarantee most of you are going to say, well, Andrea, when somebody reaches out to me, I pick up the phone and I attempt to have a conversation. And if I can't get through to them, I then email them, hoping that they might respond to me. If they don't respond to me, I then email them again, or I do another follow-up phone call and I leave a telephone message, and then I feel like I'm actually chasing them, and I might put them on my newsletter list at the same time, and hopefully, you know, they might read my newsletter, and then I might send them a survey. Sound familiar? If that's what you're currently doing right now, I want you to write that down, because that needs to change as part of your marketing plan. Because the next question says, how effective is it for you? How many of you here have gone, you know what, gosh, I feel like I'm just wasting my time chasing darn tire kickers? If that's you, then guess what? We need to change that. And the third question I seriously want you to be considering as part of your marketing one-pager plan, and that is, what software options should I be integrating to help me streamline my marketing? So important. Okay, moving into prospect experience. Effective communication to assist your lead if they are hot or not for us. And time is precious, team, right? Your time is precious. And you want to be investing your time with the people who are actually on the verge of buying from you. But how do you do that? It's so challenging and so frustrating. Everybody says they're ready for me and then they disappear. Here's what I want you to remember, that only 10% of your database will be hot for you. The remaining 90% will require time, knowledge, and patience from you before they will decide. Okay, so only 10% will be ready to buy. So I'm just going to break it down, because as it says in the marketing blueprint, you've got 3 different kinds of leads that come through. They're either cold, which is this person here. Now, a cold lead, their level of interest is fleeting. You know, they may have been up at 2 o'clock in the morning and they may have been Googling, came across you and go, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and sent you an inquiry. They then wake up the next morning and go, what the heck did I do last night? Like, how many people did I reach out to? So be aware that everybody, when they're coming through that door, that proverbial door, whether it's a newsletter, an email, an inquiry, they are a cold lead, and that's how you've got to treat them. Okay, you don't know what the motivation is. You don't know what has compelled them to reach out to you. So right now, they potentially are in a research stage where they may be starting to research possible solutions for their problem, right? And they may not be ready to talk to you at this point in time. They may have filled in a contact us form on your website. They may have filled out a newsletter. They may have phoned you and left a message. Right now, you don't know what they are. So I'm going to encourage you to treat them like they're a cold lead until you understand what the motivation is. So here are some examples of some communication for you as part of that marketing plan. You may want to put them on a monthly or a quarterly general newsletter. Remember, they're in a very low state of possibility with you right now. So just providing them a little bit of information over time allows them to build up some form of trust with you. You may want to send them a quarterly survey or feedback form asking for their thoughts, ideas, or their opinions. You may even just want to send them an email going, hey, thanks for reaching out. I really appreciate it. If you're open to having a conversation, here is a link to my booking calendar, right? Here's a 15-minute, 30-minute, no obligation opportunity for us to sit down and to have a conversation about your business, right? a link here to my calendar. Okay, or you may want to invite these people to come to a free webinar or an invitation to a live event, right? So this is opportunities for you to hold, to, I guess, start developing a communication relationship with your potential cold lead. The next person is a warm lead. They do have a reasonably high level of interest, but they're not quite ready to fully commit to you. Okay, they're still looking at doing more research and they need a little bit more information. They're almost there, but not quite. The warm lead is probably between 30 to 60% ready to buy from you. They're like you, but they're not quite in love with you just yet. This kind of person has probably done an appointment with you. They may have, asked you a few questions. They might have emailed you. This kind of audience also may have opened up a newsletter. They may have responded to some surveys. They may have even come and joined you on your social media pages. They may have come and liked you and be a part of your group. They may be engaging a little bit with you on your Facebook page. They may have reached out to you on LinkedIn and connected with you on LinkedIn as well. These people are warm leads, okay? So once again, keep them on the newsletter. You may even want to do something different like I do, which is I don't actually do general newsletters. I actually send out a daily tip, hint, or trick. They're normally 77 seconds long. It's only one tip, not 20, one tip, and I send one of those every day with an opportunity for the person to book an appointment with me. No obligation, 15-minute appointment. Why do I send out a daily tip, hint, or trick? I found that the month goes really quickly, because if we look at it's September already, and it's like, where the heck did 2020 go? And I normally find I get to like the 15th of the month and go, holy crap balls, Batman, I haven't done a newsletter. Right, I need to sit down and, okay, what am I going to talk about? So what we've done instead is a daily tip. Now, here's the other reason why I've also done a daily tip. And that is it gives me 30 days, 30 opportunities in 30 days to be at the forefront of my audience, my leads, rather than one chance in 30 days for them to remember me. Do I get people unsubscribing? Yes, I do, absolutely. But I also get people staying with me as well and receiving those daily tips and hints. So it's really important that when you are going to look at that kind of strategy, understand the reason why you want to be doing that kind of strategy for your business. Hot leads. This is the exciting part. These are people who are committed to investing in your expertise and your solution. They've done the research. They more than likely have researched your competitors as well. And in fact, they'll probably tell you that they've researched your competitors and done a comparative analysis. And you should be thankful that they've done so, because it means that you're dealing with a discerning prospect here. They're ready to talk to you. They're ready to do the deed, right? They're ready to take the relationship to the next level with you. So examples of communication is, once again, they may still be on that monthly newsletter. However, I'm going to encourage you that once somebody becomes a customer of you, please, I'm going to encourage you, move them out of the general newsletter and move them into their own unique group called customers. It may be the same newsletter that you're sending. However, if you are doing a sales pitch inside your newsletter, the last thing that a customer wants to receive from you is a newsletter where you're trying to sell them the product they've already purchased. Here's what happens, because more than likely you're discounting the product and you sold it to the customer at retail price. Not good. Not good. So inside your CRM system, you're going to shift your customers into their own special newsletter group. Okay, and you're going to probably duplicate the newsletter, but change some of the content. Most important. The other key aspect of communication with customers as well, and I'll just reach this very quickly, and that is follow up, follow through information relevant to the customer. And I'm going to leave that there and come back to it. Okay. And for hot leads, this is where you start to send them relevant lead magnets. Now, a lead magnet is something like an ebook. You might have written a series of blogs and decided to compile those blogs into an ebook. Interestingly enough, that's exactly what we're doing at the moment in my organization. I've written hundreds of blogs in the past, and I now have a couple of my team members who are combining them and consolidating them into ebooks, which I'm really excited by. I can't wait to get them when they're finished. This is where you could also be showing these people customer testimonials. Your people, previous people that you've done great work with, okay? This is the business proposal phase, right? So this is where you want to send them a kick-ass, smick-looking, professional business proposal that goes along with you being a professional in your audience, in your business. You may even, at a hot lead situation, be showing them a demonstration or an example. So one of the things that we do is we provide demo sites of people's websites. So if somebody's got, if a business has got a website at the moment and they're looking to maybe update, but they're not too sure, what we actually provide is a demonstration of what we could do for your potential website, as an example. At this stage, you're also looking at content scheduling, right? This because why? Like I said, I get to the 15th of the month and go, oh my gosh, I haven't done a newsletter yet, which is why we do 365 tips, hints, and tricks. Believe it or not, it's easier to smash one of those out every day than it is to actually build a newsletter. So you've got to be looking at scheduling your content. For example, how many days a week am I going to post on my Facebook page? Is it going to be twice a week, 3 times a week, 5 days a week? If I'm going to do articles, how often am I going to do an article? What if I want to post onto my LinkedIn page? How many times a week or a month am I going to do that? And if I'm going to hold webinars, for example, like this, how often am I going to do a webinar? All of that information and communication needs to be scheduled. Why do we need to schedule? Well, quite simply, you're going to be varying topics throughout the month. So you want to ensure that there is consistency in the communication that you're sending out there at any one given time. You know that you're going to be doing a variety of communications. So you'll be doing blogs, articles, you might do a newsletter, you might do a survey. We recently sent out a survey to 12% of our database, and these were people who had done a chatbot workshop with me, and we sent out a survey to them. So you're always going to be varying that. Now that's all being scheduled inside our monthly planner. If people are going to respond or engage with you, you want to be able to offer rewards for taking action. That is so important. Let people know that you're thanking them for engaging with you. So important. Your messaging needs to be consistent across everything you do. If you understand how you want to be what I call perceived and received in the market space, there needs consistency across all of that, which means your branding and your colors as well need to be consistent. Have a plan and structure the way you communicate. Here's in our business, how we work is everything is structured. Everything is structured, which then allows me to do random, pop-up stuff whenever I want to do it and be creative. Because why? I know I've already structured my communication for the month. And remember that even throughout all of your communication, a yes is not always a yes, right? And I know that if you're anything like me, I've had people who have gone, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to do it. I've sent the business proposal, I've made it look really, really pretty. And then suddenly they've disappeared. And it's like, where'd you go? And they've gone. Okay, so a yes is not always a yes until they've paid you. Then you know that's time to celebrate. So when you're looking at your database growth, and this is real important as part of your marketing, and that is your current database is going to end up looking like this. And that's okay, right? What you need to be aware of is your communication and your marketing strategy is essentially going to help you shift people from cold lead to warm lead to hot lead, and then finally on to being raving lunatics for your business. All right. So your marketing plan is ensuring that you've got quality communication that allows this kind of opportunity to take place. Okay. Can I just get a heads up, just to go very quick, just before I go any further? Can you see, still see my screen? Can you still see the presentation? Heather's got a thumbs up. Ronald's got a thumbs up. Jody, check your screen. Yeah. So discussion time here. A few questions I need for you to resonate on. Thank you for that, team. Appreciate it. What does your current prospect experience look like? Okay. Are you the kind of person who's picking up the phone as soon as you can and you're chasing and the hunt is on and suddenly, like a deer in the headlights, the prospect's disappeared? Okay. If that's what you're currently doing right now, I want you to make a note of that. That's something that might need to change. What communication formats are you currently using? Now, if you're just, for example, doing Facebook posts and that's it, I'm going to suggest we need to widen your quality of conversation. If you're sending out a random newsletter every 2 or 3 or 6 months, I think we need to just slightly change your communication with your database. If your newsletter you're sending out is purely just filled with sale, buy me, I'm the best, look at me, we probably need to change that because people are going to get sick of being sold to. All right. This leads to what can we improve on? And then what does your database management actually look like right now? Okay. Coming into that fourth and final stage, sales conversion. Almost there, team. Any questions, please pop them into the chat box so I can answer those for you. This is where we understand how to convert your prospects to customers and raving fans. This is part four of the marketing blueprint. Sales conversion. This is about building relationship. And yes, there are four kinds of sales conversions that actually goes on inside marketing. The cold lead to a suspect. Okay, this is the person who doesn't always respond to communication or they're slow to respond. They have a low motivation level right now where they could be at step 1 of the research or reached out to you in error. They were drunk one night feeling sorry for themselves and you and 20,000 other people, they decided, I don't know, to spam everybody with a, I need help. How you communicate to these people is monthly newsletters with a survey or a call to action, as we mentioned previously, right? You keep it very general. This is just a touch point. This is just a, hey, we're here. This is who we are, and we're here to build credibility and respectability along the way. If you have cold leads, step number 1, they're more than likely coming to you through an inquiry, a newsletter, and they should be added to an automated communication pipeline. For example, they go straight into your CRM system where they may be tagged as a lead. A newsletter lead. This is part of your marketing. Step number 2, you include call to actions to increase engagement with you. So on all of the 365s I send out on a daily, every day there's the opportunity for people, when the time is right for them, to reach out and book a 15-minute no obligation telephone call with me. Step number 3, we're not here to sell. We're here to share information and provide knowledge. For the warm lead, second conversion is from a warm lead to a prospect. This is where they're actively asking for information from you. Or you've even had a meeting. You might have done a 15-minute no obligation phone call with me. And I've just said, great, look, here's a little bit more information. When you're ready, let me know. The motivation level here, guys, is its curiosity level is quite high. They've indicated that they've got a problem, they need a solution, but they're not sure if it's going to come from you or one of your competitors. Once again, from a communication perspective, maintain them on a general newsletter or perhaps a 365. Send them relevant lead information. Help them make the decision to trust you, right? Not to necessarily buy from you initially, but to trust you and to build respect with you. You, once again, might want to ask them a survey, a feedback form, maybe say, look, if the time's not right now for you, great, why don't I just book you in? Maybe I'll send you a reminder in a couple of months' time and we'll just do a follow-up. Okay, something as simple as that, and they go, oh, wow, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So step one, please maintain a calm and composed manner and get all the facts right first about their problem. Okay, I'm guilty. I've done this myself where I've gone and thrown everything, including the kitchen sink, and then realized that all they wanted was a tap. And guess what happens? I've scared them out. They've gone and bought from my competitor. All right. So get the facts right first. The more questions you ask, the more in control of the relationship you are. Because why? When you ask questions, you're going to shut up and wait for the answer. And the more that someone feels that they can engage with you by providing more information, the more they're beginning to like you. So step number two, confirm what the next step or requirement is from them. What would you like as the next step? How's this as a recommendation? Can I suggest that we do this? Yes or no? Great. How about I can see the time's not right for you. Looks like you need a little bit more information. What if I check in with you in 30 days? Are you happy for me to do that? Sure, Andrea. Really appreciate it. Hey, no worries. Step number three in this, prepare the proposal, your sales presentation correspondence that aligns with their problem and your solution. Alrighty, the hot lead. These are the suckers you want. This is the 10% of your database, right? How do we identify a hot lead to customer? Here's the third conversion. They want you. High level of motivation with a desire to work with you. So please, as I've mentioned, remove them from the general newsletter to the customer group. Personalized email responses. So important. This is where you create a new funnel of correspondence for your customers. Now, step number one, when someone says yes, they want you and they pay you, please, I ask you, do this behind closed doors, your happy dance, your celebration dance that, oh my God, woohoo, yeah, booyah, is what I normally say. Please wait until you've got off the phone when you start celebrating. It's a bit like that movie, Notting Hill, where Hugh Grant's brought Julia Roberts to the dinner. They go to leave the tape, they go to leave the place, and next minute they walk outside and you can hear them all celebrating on the inside. So please, I'm going to encourage you, do the celebration after you've got off the phone. Step number two, this is where you start to instigate your customer onboarding process, right? So important. Step number three, this is where you start to produce your magic. The fourth, and probably for me, the most important part of your marketing plan, and that is your referral strategies. This is your raving fans to referrers, which is your customers becoming raving lunatics for your business. Okay, these are the people who love you. They have absolute confidence in your ability. They tell everybody about you. They're your best sales rep, and guess what? The most cost-effective customer acquisition ever. And I am shocked at the amount of people who do not instigate referral media strategies. Appalling. Two kinds. Number one, strategic partnerships. These are service providers who target the same audience as you. There is a mutual benefit for both parties, and there's possibly a financial referral fee here. The second kind of referrer is your customers. These are the people who go out and tell everybody about you. Why? Because you gave them such exceptional service that they can't help it. And this is, you know, think about the time that you go, I want to go to a restaurant, and someone goes, oh my gosh, you need to go to this restaurant because it was just the bee's knees. And the service was phenomenal. It was like, wow, that's really cool. If only that restaurant knew that I had just been referred. Okay. So examples of communication with these kind of people inside your networks. General newsletters, I'm probably going to say move them over into something a little bit more personal. 365 is a great way to do that, to communicate with them. Send a thank you gift or a note. I've got a colleague of mine who runs, they do handmade gifts. That's called Jane's Hand. Oh gosh, here we go. Ron, do you remember it? Jane's Hand Crafts and Gifts. Check them out on Facebook. What I now do is with every client that comes to me through a referral, I actually send a little gift basket to the person who referred the customer to say, hey, thanks, I really appreciate it. It's a little $30 gift. It's cheaper than paying for advertising, and I give them a gift. They go, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The other way that you can actually communicate effectively with your referrers is actually refer them clients as well. I'm a big fan of that with my relationships too. So what are the conversion strategies you currently have in place, if any at all? What is the mix of your current database once again? What kind of referral strategies do you use? And also, if you had referrers, how could you reward them? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do now, folks. I'm going to unmute you all. I'm hoping that you've got questions. And if you do have questions, fantastic. Please, I'm going to ask you, this is a great time for you to talk to me. I'm just going to unmute. Has anybody got any questions? How can I unmute you all? Ask all to unmute. There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Jody, yes.
Lead generation, I was looking for my printout. So I got number 2, open for beers. Number 3, find them, meaning the leads. But what was point number 1 for lead generation?
Social media strategies.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's number 1 is just social media strategies, meaning that one category.
Yep. So when you're thinking of social media strategies, think of the platforms that you want to show up. For example, I've got a client I work with who's a law firm, and when we were talking about where should she be on social media, I said, do not go down Facebook. I'm going to encourage that you focus in on LinkedIn as your primary. And maybe in the future, you might want to look at setting up a podcast channel where you can essentially set it up as a, hey, come and ask a lawyer type scenario. So when we're looking at social media, it's all about what are the different kinds of platforms that you want to essentially build your brand on.
Okay. And another question.
Sure.
Does that come under like referral media strategy, or more a public media or public relations strategy, or is it like a hybrid? It sort of can be both.
Yeah, look, great course. So you're looking at actually you're looking at sponsoring?
Oh, I sponsor a couple of sporting events.
Well done. Okay. That's public media.
Okay.
Any opportunity that you get to show up like that, that's public media. That's a combo of offline and public media. But also if there's ever the opportunity for you as a sponsor to be able to public speak or be able to promote or advertise at no cost, yeah, those are public media opportunities as well for you. And very smart move, by the way. especially if you're in a small community or a regional community. Having being a sponsor or a strategic partner is a very smart move. Cool. Any other questions? Let me just go through this and have a look. Heather, have you got a question there, my love?
No, I'm all good. Thank you. Really great. Thanks.
Cool. Just know that if you haven't received the marketing blueprint, in the follow-up email, you will receive a copy of the marketing blueprint for you to download as well. Have used CRMs and funnels before? Might look again. Okay, cool. CRM systems are an essential part of your business. If you're going to start lead generating, you need to essentially have that housing system for you. Now, normally what I recommend to people who are just starting out is, look, go free if you have to begin with. MailChimp is a really good one to cut your teeth on. Just know that on the free version, there is some limitations, but look, you can still set up a general newsletter template on MailChimp. It does allow you that opportunity to segment down as well. You can create specific communication funnels inside MailChimp while it's free. So look, if you haven't got one or you haven't thought about it, now's the time, absolutely. Especially with us playing in a digital space, guys, and who knows when we have the ability to go back to really going face to face, you want to be looking at your marketing plan, not necessarily from a, should I be going on Facebook and how many posts, which is what most marketing plan assumptions are. When we're talking about your one pager, this is about finding ways to automate your communication, because fundamentally that's what marketing is. It's the ability for you to be able to communicate efficiently and effectively. And the only best way to do that is through automating as much of that rinse and repeat stuff that you possibly can. Okay. Cool. Any other questions, guys?
Not really a question, but the other day I sort of had a light bulb moment, which was dangerous.
Go, Ron.
But no, I'd always knew that one should always define the persona of your ideal customer, and I'd sort of always put it in the back of my mind and just said, well, okay, my customer is everybody, and you and I've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
And I really sat down the other day and went through my customer persona.
Wow.
And I've actually developed, I guess, there's 3 types of customers within a customer. There's the decision maker, and then it might be the administration person, or it might be the warehouse foreman, and it might be the accounts person, and those sorts of things. And whilst they don't make the final decision to say yes, go with you, but they all have a part to play. And it wasn't until I sort of really broke it down like that I was able to see where I should be concentrating my efforts, and that was sort of leading into part of that writing blogs and writing information to attract people to my business. So
absolutely.
And it was an ideal goal goal of mine to sort of sit down and actually do that. And sort of what role do they actually play, and are they part of the decision making, and what are actually their goals? What are they trying to achieve? In wanting my service, and what's their challenges? To prevent them coming to me or go to someone else. And then what questions, would they ask, and what would be my response?
Yeah.
So it was interesting going through that. It took me most of the day, but and that's my first draft of it, I guess.
Well
but
done.
It sort of gives me a really black and white view of where I should be looking at, and I can see now that I can plug some of that, or probably all of that, into some of the things that you've just discussed today.
Well done. And that's such a valid point you raised too, Ron, and thank you for that. And if I can say, you're quite, to a degree, you're quite fortunate because you've already, you've been building your business now for a fair while now. So you've gone through those peaks and troughs of attempting to identify or to understand who that ideal target audience is in inverted commas. When starting out in business, and for those of you on the call today who are starting out in business, I'm going to encourage you to set up this automation process, because irrespective of who your customer is, you're going to need to put them through something. They're going to have to go through a process of some description. But then the second thing I'm going to ask you to, I guess, get some sort of indication of, and that is, what is the solution you're actually bringing to market? What's the problem you're trying to solve? And is that problem still in existence in today's market space? Right? Because at the moment, if we look at what's happening in the current situation, I've spoken to a number of businesses whose clientele have disappeared. They no longer exist, which therefore puts their business in an absolutely serious condition, because who they were targeting, and I'll give you an example. I've got a client of mine who is and please forgive me, I can't remember the proper name, but they make hats.
Helena.
Thank you. Excellent. They make hats. They've been making hats for years. Thanks, Tanae. Thank you for coming on board. And anyway, I was talking with him last night at a networking event. They have lost 80% of their business in the last 5 months. Why? Because their audience were people who wore fancy hats at racing events, horse racing events. And they said, normally in Spring Carnival, we can make, in the months of August, September, October, July, August, September, we can make $100,000 a month in hat sales as people are preparing for the Spring Carnival. He said, we're barely lucky if we make 5,000 at the moment. So for those of you starting out, I'm going to encourage you, identify the problem that's in the market that your solution fixes. Then I want you to go research and find out, how big is that potential market? How much is actually out there? And the best way to assess that is go and find out how many competitors you have in that who are providing a solution to that problem. Do that and you'll know that, okay, I've got a market space that's actually deserving of, that may require my kind of solution. And what's really cool with what Ron gave as an example was that this is exactly what Ron's gone through. He's gone through this whole process of, okay, well, this is the solution I'm fixing. Yes, there is a market out there for me. There's already competitors in the market space. And I'm just going to start competing. I'm going to do a market penetration strategy. I'm just going to go head to head and compete with my competitors and look at taking some of their market share. What Ron's now transitioning into, which is fantastic, is he's now transitioning into that market development where he's got some customers now. He's now looking for specific kinds of customers. Okay. So, and that's all part of, that's the second level of building out your marketing plan. Okay. Because it doesn't matter who your customer or your lead or your prospect is, you're still going to need to have these 4 key components in play no matter what. Okay, so on that note, the marketing blueprint, like I said, you will receive a copy. When you receive a copy, folks, please, I encourage you, I implore you, take advantage of it, scribble all over it, download it a couple of times, use it. It's a tool they're used for your benefit. We covered off lead generation, nurture journey, the softwares we need to be considering, the prospect experience, content and scheduling of content, and then finally sales conversion. So your next steps going forward, work your blueprint. Okay, like I said, copy, print it as many times as you like. Book in a one-on-one with me. Take advantage of the 15 minutes, no obligation. Knowing me, Ron knows what I'm like. I talk for Africa. Normally goes for 20 minutes, half an hour. Okay. Seek support. You are not alone on this journey. There is tons of people out there. Seek support. Sorry, my apologies. Seek support. And where possible, look for other workshops to attend that fit in with your marketing blueprint, right? So important. If you don't have a website and you need a website, don't go and do the web workshop on Canva. Please go do a workshop that talks about websites. Why? Because it's an integral part of your blueprint. I shall say no more. Other than here are my contact information, which you will also be able to receive from me. I do run, if you're interested, on a Monday, we do a BizMojo Business Bites panel where we have the opportunity of interviewing businesses. If you are interested in wanting your business to be interviewed, Ron's been interviewed on it a couple of times. If you're interested in wanting to be interviewed by myself and my business partner, we would love to have you. So please do reach out to us as well. And well done. Congratulations on staying with me and allowing me to beat you up about the marketing blueprint. Team, it's an exciting time out there. For those of you who are looking to start in business, I'm going to encourage you, go forward. There is never a better time other than a recession or a depression for you to be starting your business. And I am stunned at the amount of opportunities that are available out there in the market space. As for the rest of you who have existing businesses, pull up your britches, use the marketing blueprint. There are plenty of opportunities out there for you. So I thank you once again for joining me. My name is Andrea Anderson from Your Marketing Machines. I look forward to the opportunity in sharing this space with you again in the future. And I wish you all the best for your future business endeavors. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Where am I?